Today's talk is a continuation of the previous day's talk under the title of 7 strategies of dealing with the mental taints and impurities as explained by the Buddha in the Sabbaswa Sutta discourse. This discourse is a very wonderful sutta which covers all the aspects of the spiritual development. In this discourse, Buddha mentioned about basic foundations of the mind, where unwholesome, impure mental states, as well as wholesome, pure mental states arise. So the mind is the basic originating point from which all the unwholesome and wholesome mental conditions arise and pass. Most of people in the world, they are immersed and drowned in a lot of mental states mixed with the wholesome and unwholesome. When unwholesome mental states arise frequently, they suffer. They suffer mental problems. They suffer continuous mental restlessness. They suffer uncontrollable desires and angers. They suffer endless kind of mental problems. As we explained yesterday, there are doing a lot of the mental disorder under different names. It is quite seldom and infrequent for a person to have wholesome mental thoughts arise and continue to occur frequently, unless he is a trained in mindfulness meditation practice or in some sort of the good mind keeping. In this discourse, initially, Buddha mentioned about the two important conditions, which I have translated as improper mind keeping, improper mind keeping. The first strategy is to know, to understand, so that one can deal with the mental impurities and taints. How we should know? One should know the proper mind keeping the mind properly, wisely. And also he should also understand how the mind is kept improperly. That needs a lot of explanation regarding right mind keeping and wrong mind keeping. Right mind keeping is called the yoniso manasikara. And wrong mind keeping, the wrong attitude, is called the ayoniso manasikara. Now let me explain in more detail about these two mental attitudes and mind-keeping methods. Common people who never have any knowledge of the spiritual development known as meditation, they don't know about their mind, let alone mental development. They don't know how to keep their mind calm and peaceful in the face of the stimulation, in the face of the temptation, in the face of the destruction, in the face of the everyday bombardment with the various kind of the objects. The mind is always going through endless cycle of the stimulation. Sometimes even if there's no outside environment stimulation, the mind itself wander off aimlessly and uncontrollable. Most meditator, they know how they have to struggle with the wandering thoughts in the first initial days and for a few weeks. It takes a time to tackle the wandering thoughts. Having the right attitude is very important. So for commoner people, they don't know the right mind keeping, how to keep their mind calm and stable in the face of the distraction and disturbances. As a result, unwholesome mental conditions keep arising, they continue to rise in the mind, in the mental flow. What is ayoniso manasikara? Ayoniso improperly manasikara, keeping the mind. People translate in the books as unwise mind mental attitudes. In Buddhist text, ayoniso manasikara is just conventional thinking, conventional notion based on persistent view of the ego, me and mine, he and she and they, etc. Mental conditions are personifying, even though they are just only mental conditions. When one view all experience everything based on these notions of ego, I am me, ayoniso manasikara, improper mind keeping arise. I'm angry. He's doing this, saying this and that, and this condition is happening, which is unpleasant and upsetting. So, in such a condition, having such a common notion leads to more unwholesome mental states. A meditator or the one who has any knowledge of the noble teachings of the Buddha, he knows that the mental reaction which is happening in the mind, in the mental flow, such as anger, aversion, are just mental states which are arising and passing. And also the external agent which causes the anger are also physical and mental phenomena. They are also subject to arising and passing away. If a person has such basic understanding, he will not badly react in a situation like this. This way, his proper and right thinking will keep the mind calm and less agitated. For ordinary commoner person, he doesn't have any kind of thinking based on the teaching of the Dharma. So he will react angrily. He will react sadly if the situation is a sad situation. He doesn't understand. This is the way everybody has to go live through in life. So Ayoniso Manasikara is a mental attitude that accepts things on face value, on superficial level. It's a thinking based on conventional notion and conventional patterns of human mind. Oh, this person is doing this and that. I'm insulted. I'm slighted, etc. So this way, unwholesome thoughts continue to rise. So keeping the mind properly needs time and training and also planning. It is not automatic and spontaneous process. One need to acquire this right mind keeping through understanding of the Buddha's teaching, through spiritual training, by means of meditation. This way one slowly develops right understanding. Now, another example is when someone lost a family member or maybe his money in the business venture, he can have the right mind keeping from proper perspective of the Dhamma, even though he can apply some conventional way, explaining the reason why he lost money, etc. But in the case one lost a family member, there's nothing one can do. It's the way everybody has to face, everybody has to live through. So in this case, from the perspective of the Buddha's teaching, one has to understand that all are subject to rising and passing away. Even this so-called dear life and this cherished body are impermanent. There's no exception regarding the law of the universe, the law of karma, the law of the physical phenomena and mental phenomena. No one will be treated based on the favor and special discrimination, like the way some people used to expect. Because I believe in this and that, and this religious belief, I will be exempted. I will be exempted from debt, from and so such and such an unfortunate situation, etc. Human beings are always hopeful and optimistic. And that's quite natural because the purpose of the religious belief is to provide comfort and to provide hope. Being hopeful is either a human nature, but being hopeful and being ready and being prepared to be able to live life in peace and happiness is our responsibility. This is what Buddha want to say, want to practice in the journey of life by use of his spiritual advice and a wider teaching of the spiritual development. In such a situation of the loss of life, of the someone in the family, one have to think about As the Buddha said, whatever has arisen and always subject to passing away. There's no point, no reason which can which can avoid this condition. No one can avoid, no one can escape the law of the nature. Let me put this simple word, the law of nature, the law of all the conditioned things. We always want some exception. Whenever we see unacceptable thing, whenever we have to live through, why this happened to me, etc. The whole world, the whole family members in the past, they live through bad situation. They face that with a lot of the blind optimism that they will remain eternal. In Buddha's time, there are a lot of the interesting stories about a lady who lost her only son, an infant. And when she lost that infant son, she go around in the town seeking help. If there's anyone who can resurrect the dead son. Then one wise man advised her to go to the Chedavana monastery and seek help from the Buddha. Buddha knew even before she arrived. And she came to the Buddha asking for resurrecting that son's life back to be normal, back to your life. And Buddha said, if you can get mustard seed from a household where there's no one ever died before, I can resurrect your baby. Then she go back after being respected to Buddha into the town and requesting mustard seed from house to house. People then gave her what she needed. But she asked question, is there anyone who never have faced any kind of death in this household? Then people reply, are you foolish? There's no household in the whole world who never have had any kind of death or the family member in the household. Every household has faced the death of some loved ones in the family once and in a while. And then she rejected. After going through the whole town, she found out, she realized, she came back to her senses, her normality. Oh, I see. I thought only my son is dead, but the whole world has to face this nature. Then she realized it, and she left the body of that son in the cemetery, and she came back to the Buddha. And Buddha taught her, and then she became enlightened. So in this story, the point is development of the right mental attitudes and right understanding. Right mental attitude, right understanding, being well informed of the Dhamma, being well informed of the law of the nature, the law of the things in life, can lead you to development of the right mind keeping. Some right mind keepings may be worldly and mundane, but in this sutta, Buddha wants more right and more wise attitude based on the teaching of the Buddha, which one can acquire through learning Buddhist text or understanding and listening Buddha's teaching. that all the mental and physical phenomena which continuously arise and pass inside the body and inside everyone's body are just passing and rising and passing non-stop. Every day, every hour, every minute, every second. That is just only visible and noticeable finite death. That always occurs every minute inside our body. And the molecular level and microscopic level and all the smallest unit of our bodily cells are continually degenerated and regenerated. That is a constant process. This is called the minor death or momentary death. In Buddhism, it is referred to as the khanika marana. Death which arises and passes on a momentary basis. A meditator starts seeing it in the progressive state of the meditation. He knows that is all an ever-present nature of the body. It's not something which happens only once in a while. It happens all the time. Once we have this kind of understanding, Shonisomanasika develops. He can live through bereavement. He can face death of the family members and death of loved ones without feeling too much pain. Instead, he awakens more deeply regarding the nature of life, how vulnerable, how fragile one's life is, everyone's life is. He starts understanding this. He developed a deep awareness known as Samvega. This way he can prepare himself. When there's time, I must try to progress. I must try to develop wisdom. I must try to develop the inside knowledge, and so that I can set my mind free from endless cycle of suffering. This way he can progress. Thus, Shonisamanasikara, having wise and right attitudes, lead to more progress and development of peace and happiness. On the other hand, Ayonisamanasikara, improper mind keeping, is almost ever present among everybody in the world, including ourselves. The moment we lost our mindful awareness, and that Ayonisamanasikara keep coming back, then we start having problems. When one is having pain and one start reacting negatively, one start feeling upset and angry. That's why having Ayonisamanasikara, having improper mind keeping, is unwholesome. It's the gateway where unwholesome mental conditions keep coming in. But I clearly explained in the discourse. Right mind keeping is the pathway to develop wholesome mental conditions, to do wholesome things. Improper mind keeping, Ayonisamanasikara, is the pathway, the entrance door of all unwholesome mental conditions. By understanding how to develop Shonisamanasikara, wise mental attitude, and right mind keeping, and how improper mind keeping happens in one's mind, one will be able to handle mental impurities. And he will try to develop right mental attitudes and right mind keeping and prevent unwholesome mental states from arising in the mind. So this is a brief explanation regarding Shonisamanasikara and Ayonisamanasikara. Now let's continue what Buddha explained in the discourse. In the discourse yesterday, I have briefly explained about what Buddha said. Now let me recap what Buddha said. To deal with the mental impurities and mental taints, one needs a proper understanding. This is one strategy. What's a proper understanding? What it means? To know right mind keeping and wrong mind keeping. This is the first step. And after that, Buddha continued to explain, if a person have improper wrong mind keeping, various kind of confusion and speculative thinking regarding one's life start arising in the past life, in the future life, in the present life. One start thinking based on one's notions of I and me. Altogether, Buddha mentioned about the 16 kind of the confusion and doubt. And Buddha continued to explain regarding the benefit, effect of the having improper mental attitude. 6 wrong view also emerge out of the having improper mind keeping, which are summarized in eternal view and nihilistic view. Those who hold eternal views, they just thought there is a soul, there's an indestructible entity known as Atta or spirit, and this is indestructible. This will move from one life to another life, etc. This way, the eternal view comes up. So another view is a nihilistic view. This kind of view doesn't accept eternity. Instead, it accepts the body is just only permanent phenomena. Life is just only temporary experience and temporary phenomena. The moment body perish, everything also finish. Everything becomes zero, empty. So this nihilistic view also arises. Then there is a very delicate question. What's the Buddha's view? And this, or in all this, Buddha's view is just manifestation of cause and effect. As long as there's a cause, there will be visible manifestation of the body in the next phase of rebirth. And the cause in this case is the human desire and strong wish to keep on living endless rebirths, endless lives in the future. There's no physical entity which has been transferred from this physical body to next phase of life. Transfer of energy, in this case, happens as an invisible process. Like the way you use your telephones. In your telephone, someone calls your phone number, and then the phone rings. In this case, you don't see the other number of the other party, your friend. You cannot see it because it's just only energy transfer, which comes through the atmosphere by means of electromagnetic waves. I'm just only explaining using this analogy of the cellular waves and electromagnetism, which is spread in everywhere in the atmosphere, so that we can use this cellular phone. And our number two, the same thing. We may use this phone. It's Robert's phone, Jenny's phone. And this phone is Jenny. This phone number is Robert. We cannot claim it. It's only a number, temporary number given and assigned by the company in digital format. Once we press our phone in numbers and our friend's phone was rang, on the other side, and we can start communicating. In this case, the number of robots doesn't go out to the home of the genies. It just only waves, invisible waves, which are invented by physical science, by using our natural laws of the electromagnetic waves which are present in the atmospheric conditions. Buddhism's explanation is very much similar to that. When a person dies and new life starts, in this case, no one can see. So-called Mr. White going to another family's home and conceive in the womb of the Mrs. Y, etc. Only when that person from previous life came into new life in physically manifested form, maybe his name is given such as daddy or etc. a boy. He may not know where he comes from, but in exceptional case, if he has certain capacity of power, unusual power of the capacity to know the past life, one very close immediate past life, he can tell where he comes from. There are a lot of the interesting stories about the reincarnations and what you can find in Buddhist text. In Buddhist text, also in the Maison. And a few years back, there's a boy in California who has been a very famous baseball player. He started talking many strange and silly things to his mother. His mother was at first, very confused, but later she found out that he's a real person who lived in the past in Chicago. And these are just only brief explanation regarding how Buddhism explained regarding changing from phase of life to another life. In this case, Buddhism rejects moving of the physical identity of the physical body of the spirit to another life. Instead, it just only continue a chain of the cause and effect. In this way, we don't know who any eternal view or nihilistic view. It's a very delicate process. I'm just trying to explain a little bit about that. And now let me recap again what Buddha said. In the face of such kind of wrong views, a disciple of the Buddha who have the knowledge of the Buddha's teaching and trying to keep the mind properly, he avoid keeping the mind improperly. This way, he avoid any unwholesome mental impurities from arising. This way, he trying to develop wholesome mental states. This is it, just a recapping of what Buddha said. Now let me explain what Buddha said. Sutta wasa ko bhikkhve Ariya Sago, Ariya Nandasawi, Ariya Dhamasa Govido, Ariya Dhamma Suwinido, Sabrida Nandasawi, Sabrisa Dhamasa Govido, Sabrida Dhamma Suwinido, Manasikrani Dhamma Bachanadi. Disciple, well-informed disciple of the saints who knows the Dhamma, who practices Dhamma, who is trained in the mindfulness meditation, he knows the right mind keeping. He also knows the wrong mind keeping. Because he knows the right mind keeping, he keeps his mind rightly. Because he knows the wrong mind keeping, he avoids it. What I'm going to explain. What is wrong mind keeping? By having wrong mind keeping, one have a problem of mental impurities. Buddha said, if a person thinks this way or that way based on ego, and desire arise, and desire to a clinging desire, clinging mental attitude toward life also arise. And incidents of the delusion and ignorance arise. If such a mind attitude increase the incidence of desire, incidence of the clinging, incidence of the delusion, such mental attitudes are wrong mental attitudes. He avoid them. Kadameja Bhikkhve Dhamma Manasikaraniya, Chedame Manasikarodi. What are the right mind keeping? Buddha explained. If a person keep the mind properly, desire will not arise. Even if they arise, one can handle those desires and clinging by being mindful, by observing the as passing mental and physical phenomena. Delusion will not arise. Such is a right mental attitude, right mind keeping. By having such right mental attitudes and avoiding wrong mental attitude, unwholesome mental taints will not arise. Even those who mental impurities which have arisen will be removed. So idan dukkhanti yoniso manasi kroti. Such a disciple who is well informed of the noble teaching of the Buddha, see whatever pleasant or unpleasant things arise as dukkha. This is just only subject to rising and passing away. So that this is dukkha. Ayan dukkha samudhyoti yoniso manasi kroti. This desire, this clinging is the cause of generating more suffering. He understands this. Ayan dukkha nirodoti tathabhutang paja yoniso manasi kroti. This mindful observation, impersonal mindful observation, is that which cuts this continuous chain of the notion of I am me. And this awareness and this right effort, etc., are the pathway to which lead to the cessation of this continuous chain of dukkha. Ayan dukkha niragamini dibhya yathabhutang yoniso manasi kroti. So let me simplify this explanation. A disciple who is well informed of the noble teachings of the Buddha, who is trained in spiritual practice, rightly keep his mind when he experiences a pleasant sensation or pleasant experience based on pleasant condition. He just accept, view it as pleasant feeling, and this pleasant feeling is just only momentary phenomena, mental phenomena, which arise and pass, which cannot escape rising and passing nature. He see no point which he can hold on to it, like the way ordinary people are. He sees it as dukkha. In this case, I use the dukkha, but actually he just only sees it as arising and passing. And he, in case he keep clinging to it, oh, this is a wonderful sensation, a wonderful peace, and he want to have this kind of peaceful sensation recurring, coming up again and again. He start having clinging. This clinging will lead to disappointment because that peaceful sensation, peaceful experience will not last longer in the way as he wished. In the way he wished, he will not last longer. It come and it go. So the clinging. This clinging is the cause of unnecessary disappointment. Then he keep right mental attitude by noting it. Happy or Joya, he just noted. Even that noting mind and that joy, instantly disappear in very strong mindfulness, meditation progress. He see this is the cessation of the arising and passing. And he also know this mindful observation, which is nobody's, is the pathway and the path to achieve the peace and mental stability, mental calm, and mental serenity. This mental serenity and mental grace, spiritual grace, is very wonderful quality of the enlightened saints. This is just a very simple explanation of these words. Now, Buddha continue to explain. Tassa evam yoniso manasi krodo tini sanyojnani bhiyandi. For such a noble disciple who have right, proper mind keeping and proper attitudes, three fetters will be removed. Sakaya Deity, the notion that this joy of sensation or this suffering sensation is based on my body. I am experiencing it. I am suffering now. I'm enjoying this sensation. He will remove this past. This is called the Sakaya Deity. Vijigacha. This is called interpreted as the doubt. In this case, doubt is this joy, is there some sort of favor granted to me by a powerful being? Is this joy or suffering is punishment, etc.? Such kind of wrong notion and doubts or other confusion such as, is this joy my own? Is this suffering and my own suffering, and which is owned by me, etc. Such kind of doubt and skeptical thoughts will also disappear. The well-informed noble disciple will see it very clearly. They just come and go, this joy of experience and feeling and this bad sensation, bad experience, they are just only temporary, momentary phenomena, and they just arise and pass. He will overcome this second fetter. Silabda Brahma. So this is the third fetter. I inform disciple will transcend, will overcome. Silabda Brahmasa is interpreted as wrongly accepting habitual practice and rituals as the pathway to liberation. This is a very persistent pattern in ancient India, even nowadays. Silabda Brahmada is a Pali word. Sila means habitual habits. Vada means right and ritual practice. Brahmada, accepting and viewing them repeatedly as truth based on one's own narrow thinking and narrow view. We have a lot of such kind of wrong views toward the rites and ritual and customs. If you go to particular country, you will see people coming to the river and taking part in the river to wash away their evil. You will see such kind of patterns. A large number of people come every year and every day on the certain kind of river, and they're just trying to wash away their evil, their sins, believing that they can remove their sin, and they will be liberated. This is just only one example. Silabhadra Paramasa is a very much present in the society. If you are enlightened, if you are not well informed about the Buddha's teaching, so when a well-informed disciple see all the joys and sufferings and angers as impermanent mental state which belongs to no one, with the wonderful impersonal mindfulness, he will be able to remove all those things. He will be able to live through such situation without feeling pain. Can be called living in pain without feeling pain. Living in joy without being affected by enjoying. This way, the mind becomes calm and serene and stable. Ime Wokchandi Bhikkhve Asava Dasana Bhadava. Disciple, these are called mental impurities which to be removed by means of insight, right understanding. This is the first strategy explained in Buddhist text, and this is Sutta. So right understanding, right mind keeping are the basic strategy, initial strategy to deal with the mental impurities. You are just following this strategy, applying it in your mindfulness practice. You are instructed to note all the mental states and all the physical pains which you feel in the body as nobody's, as not yours. And the note in mind is nobody, just only immersion and mindfulness. This does not mean you have to lose your identity. Identities such as me and mine are accepted in daily communication and daily interaction. Buddha doesn't reject. What Buddha means is that in the spiritual development, you need to train to remove this notion, because this notion of I am me is the basic point where the suffering comes. If you understand Buddha's teaching clearly, you will be able to apply it in your daily life. There are also other things, if I can explain, to remove the notion of I am me. The moment Mr. White dies, maybe his children cremate him, or maybe his wealthy children make a interment of his physical remains in a very big well-known cemetery. Very expensive, planting flowers and coming every year to remember him, in memory of him. They will do this based on their ability, but so-called Mr. Wise, no longer present. He just moved on. His body perished. All his activities came to nothing. Everything associated with Mr. White remains in photo albums and things he did. By reflecting this, you will also need accept that what Buddha teach, what Buddha taught, is acceptable, because he may to help you live life in peace, free from suffering. In order to free from suffering, you have to know properly. You have to understand properly. You have to know how to apply Buddha's teaching in daily life. That's what Buddha means by this strategy. We need to have right understanding and right information and also insight knowledge developed through mindfulness meditation so that we can successfully deal with mental impurities as explained by Buddha in this sutta as a first strategy. Now let me continue to explain second strategy. Second strategy is dealing mental impurities and taints by means of restraining. Restraining is called in Pali samvara. Sam means well. Vara means blocking or preventing. In this case, you cannot use physical restraining. What you have to use is spiritual restraining and moral restraining. So there are two tools of the restraining. The first is moral restraining, moral restraint. Second is spiritual restraint. I will explain later. Let me continue to interpret what Buddha said. Kadmeja bhikkhve asawa samvara bahadaba. Disciple, what mental taints, what mental impurities are to be removed by means of restraining. Ida bhikkhve bhikkhu patisankha yoniso Chakondriya samvara samvudo viharati. Disciples here in this world, the noble disciple use proper mind keeping. By having proper mind keeping, he got his eye in all the seeing process. He used sati, mindfulness, as a restraining tool. This is what Buddha mentioned. We have to use a right mind keeping. By means of it, we use mindfulness. We apply mindfulness in every process of seeing. Neither going into detail nor being bothered about it. Instead, just see it casually. Like the way you see things in a fast-moving train, a fast-moving vehicle. There's no way for you to go into detail. Oh, what town it is? And what kind of forest it is? You don't vote. If you're trying to vote, it will make you dizzy. It's meaningless. So you just let it be. You continue your ride on the train, being aware of your sitting and touching. Buddha continue to explain, yin jaisa bhikkhve, chakondriya samvaram asamvu dasa viharato, obijeyong asawa vigata prilaha. In case the noble disciple forgot to apply this proper mind keeping and restraint by means of their mindfulness, there will arise stressful mental states which can cause mental disturbance and restlessness. Chakondriya samvaram samudasa virado evansa te aswa vigada prila nahandi. By applying proper mind keeping and mindful restraint, mindfulness as a restraint and seeing action, those possible stressful mental states and thoughts will not arise. This is the result of applying that wonderful right mind keeping and mindfulness restraint and seeing process. It's very and very much to the point in this explanation. Buddha continued to explain further. Patisankha yoniso sodindriya samudo virati. The noble disciple, applying the right mind keeping, he applied mindfulness and seeing and hearing the sounds. Karnendriya samvara samudo viharati. Similarly, the noble disciple keep the right mind keeping and applying mindfulness as a restraint in smelling certain odors and most odors, whatever pleasant or unpleasant, or irritating or enjoyable. Let him come up, he just use his right mind keeping by applying mindfulness as a restraining tool. Chengwendriya samvara samudo viharati. Noble disciple have the right mind keeping and applying mindfulness. And the moment he tastes various kind of the taste on his tongue. Kayendriya samvara samudo viharati. The noble disciple also keep the right mind keeping, the right mental praying by applying mindfulness when he experiences the sensations in the body, throughout the body. Manendriya samvara samudo viharati. The noble disciple keep the right mind condition, the right mental attitudes and mental frame by applying mindfulness when he is having various kind of thoughts and various kinds of the mental image and mental states. In case he forgot to keep his mind properly in the right mental frame, and in case he forgot to apply mindfulness as a restraint in knowing our mental thoughts and mental objects. Stressful mental conditions combined with the various kind of mental states might arise. By having the right mental frame and mental attitudes and applying mindfulness in being aware of all mental objects and mental thoughts, those possible stressful mental conditions and mental distractions will not occur. These are explanations how a person should deal function and operate. It always arises and passes, and like the very busy entry doors. That's why during your retreat, you are instructed to keep mindfulness at all times, and seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting and experiencing sensations and having various thoughts and wandering minds and various mental states. the more attentively you can apply mindful restraint, and the less chance for mental impurities to arise in your mind. And the more longer and longer you have such mindfulness in stable mental states, wonderful, positive, brilliant mental states will come up. This is about what you are doing. If you can do this, as instructed by the Buddha, you are already applying this second strategy described by Buddha in this sutta. Now let me continue to explain what Buddha said. Yin nyeda bhikkhu sanwaran asanudasa virato obijeyum asawa vigada brilaha. Disciple, if a noble disciple don't restrain such kind of the necessary restraining and the sixth sense entry doors, there may arise stressful mental conditions and distraction and mental pollutants and impurities. Sanwaran sanudasa virado ewan sati adawa vigada prila nahundi. Those possible stressful mental states and mental impurities will not arise for such a noble disciple who keep the right mind, the right mental frame by means of using mindfulness. Ime wokchanti bhikkhu asawa samvara bahadava. Disciple, this is called mental impurity to be deal with restraining. This way, you can use restraining strategy of the Buddha as an effective strategy to deal with the mental impurities. Buddha is very much practical, and he always teach applicable teachings so that we can gain peace and happiness. We can achieve the lasting joy and freedom from suffering. May all of you be able to apply these two strategies which I have explained through this discourse. May all of you progress in your practice.